When you go to see the Boston Classical Orchestra, you don't just hear a concert, you share an experience.
You feel not so much that you're in the audience, but that you're on stage with the orchestra. And in a way you are, because you're on the same level with them, and they're just right in front of you, playing.
You have an experience unlike anything I've had in a typical concert hall, but this is great music up close. This is music where you can see the players, where you can watch the soloists.
It's such an intimate venue that it's different than any other experience I've ever had with an orchestra.
That music washes over you. When you're on that same level, you can almost feel it. Maybe in some cases you really can feel it. You can actually feel maybe the sound waves actually striking you as you're on that level. There's almost a visceral experience that goes beyond what you might experience with another orchestra in another venue.
The Boston Classical Orchestra, as its name suggests, was founded to present music of the classical period in this small, intimate, lovely hall, Faneuil Hall, in the heart of Boston. The thrill of hearing a Beethoven symphony in this 700-seat hall, where the most distant seat from the orchestra is probably like being at the other end of a good-sized living room. Everybody is close to the orchestra.
To go to a Boston Classical Orchestra concert is a great reason to go to Faneuil Hall. Seeing John Adams looking down at you while you're in the hall is just fantastic. They're playing music that was being played for the first time when Faneuil Hall was this great place of activism.
You really get a sense of the long arc of history in art, in politics, in government, in civic life, and in music. Harry Ellis Dixon had been their longtime music director. He had developed a template for the Faneuil Hall concerts where he would turn around on the podium and speak to the audience. And he spoke to them very much like he would speak to a gathering in somebody's home, about the guest artists, about the musicians, the music that was about to be played, the composers, a little bit of history. It was a very nice mix, and he had a light touch.
My dad was a natural raconteur. He had a way of talking to audiences and to people generally.
Steve Lipset clearly is one of the reasons I think that the Boston Classical Orchestra experience is as good as it is. He is so talented, and he has such a rapport with the orchestra that he himself adds to the great music up close experience, because he gives little asides and explanations about the music and the composers and things like that. It just helps bring the whole package together.
I love performing with Steve Lipset and my colleagues in the orchestra. I feel that the level of our musical product right now is really wonderful. Our audience feels part of the BCO family, and it's because you are mingling with them all the time. And from everyone who's spoken to me over the years that I've been there now, this is a wonderful part of that organization, because they don't leave one way while you walk out having been on stage somewhere else and go out backstage, and they never have an opportunity to talk to the musicians. And I think for classical musicians, it's an opportunity that is missed in a lot of places, and you can't help it in Faneuil Hall.
Originally, the BCO set out to bring live orchestral music to the Beacon Hill North End community. Today, our audiences come from Boston, the suburbs, and throughout New England, and are made up of people of all ages and walks of life.
Use a little bit of imagination, you can sort of feel as though they're just playing for you. It's kind of your personal orchestra. And it does feel that way, and so it's a unique experience because of that. It's beautiful.
This music is completely fresh, reimagined by living musicians who are on fire to share it with other people who love to hear it.
Our orchestra looks like it's having a really good time. I always say to people, why can't you have a good time playing your instrument? It's what you've wanted to do hopefully since you were younger, and it brings great pleasure to your life. Why should you always look so serious about it? It's a wonderful thing to do. I think it's lovely that people recognize that we look friendly and as though we're enjoying our job.
Our orchestra draws on a unique community of individuals. When not performing for us, these supremely talented professional musicians can be found playing with the Boston Lyric Opera, Boston Ballet, and Boston Pop's Esplanade Orchestra, as well as teaching at the finest music schools. BCO concerts also feature world-class guest artists at their best. The BCO frequently invites Boston Symphony musicians to perform with us, as well as internationally recognized stars.
We've had artists that have really wowed folks. One I can think of is Sharon Isbin. That was definitely a sellout experience. It was wonderful to listen to. And my hope is that if individuals and corporations support the orchestra, if they attend the performances to the level I hope they will, the orchestra will have the financial wherewithal to bring more of these terrific performers in.
Classical music's future is always going to be reaching children, no matter how you do it or where they are. And they will get excited if they're actually there with you.
We love taking the orchestra into the schools, and it's a very important part of our educational outreach program. We'll meet with small groups of students in a kind of an interactive demonstration workshop. All of it is preparatory to a June visit from the full orchestra, to have our full orchestra on stage in their auditorium. Many of them have said it refreshes their dedication to their instrument or to their involvement in the band or the orchestra program. Through the generosity of the family of Ann Hyatt, underwrote annual youth concerts in Faneuil Hall, where we bring Boston school children into the hall and present a full youth concert for them.
The performance at Faneuil Hall that included the public school children was absolutely fantastic. For me, the most wonderful thing about the concerts was being able to sit and watch their parents. They just looked energized and excited to be there.
You'll find us performing each season from September through April, approximately every 6 weeks, on Friday nights and Sunday afternoons, plus a special Valentine's concert, all in the intimate setting of Faneuil Hall. In all, we produce an 11-concert season and an active educational outreach program on a modest budget of only $350,000 a year. Without an endowment, these funds need to be raised annually.
Ticket sales only cover about half of the expenses of the orchestra. And so if you don't have corporations and foundations, and I would suggest in particular individuals, supporting the orchestra financially beyond the ticket sales, the orchestra is not going to be able to flourish.
If you'd like to hear the Boston Classical Orchestra in person, you can purchase a full season subscription, a 3-concert Flex Pass, or individual concert tickets on our website. If you'd like to have the satisfaction of supporting great music, you can make a tax-deductible donation or volunteer with the orchestra. Experiencing great music up close makes for a wonderful evening out, whether you're a classical concert aficionado or a first-timer. To get involved, call 617-423-3883 or visit bostonclassicalorchestra.org.